Question number 601. Question: what is the highest mountain peak in Canada? Option A, Mount Logan. Option B, Mount McKinley. Option C, Mount Everest. Option D, Mount Columbia. The answer is option A, Mount Logan. Question number 602. Question: what is the primary role of members of Parliament, MPs, in Canada? Option A, to serve in the military. Option B, to provide legal counsel to citizens. Option C, to represent constituents in Parliament. Option D, to enforce laws. The answer is option C, to represent constituents in Parliament. Question number 603. Question: what does the right of habeas corpus protect against? Option A, unlawful imprisonment. Option B, taxation without representation. Option C, freedom of expression. Option D, the right to bear arms. The answer is option A, unlawful imprisonment. Question number 604. Question: which Canadian city is celebrated for its innovative music scene and is often referred to as Music City? Option A, Toronto. Option B, Montreal. Option C, Vancouver. Option D, Halifax. The answer is option B, Montreal. Question number 605. Question: the discovery of insulin, a monumental achievement in medical science, was made by Canadian scientists in what year? Option A, 1921. Option B, 1922. Option C, 1930. Option D, 1931. The answer is option A, 1921. Question number 606. Question: Upper Canada and Lower Canada were united as the Province of Canada in the year? Option A, 1830. Option B, 1860. Option C, 1840. Option D, 1850. The answer is option C, 1840. Question number 607. Question: the Underground Railroad was a network for escaped slaves seeking freedom primarily in the Canadian province of Option A, Ontario. Option B, Quebec. Option C, Nova Scotia. Option D, British Columbia. The answer is option A, Ontario. Question number 608. Question: who is known as the father of Medicare for his role in establishing universal health care in Canada? Option A, Tommy Douglas. Option B, Pierre Elliott Trudeau. Option C, John A. Macdonald. Option D, Lester B. Pearson. The answer is option A, Tommy Douglas. Question number 609. Question: the Aboriginal peoples of Canada include Option A, Inuit, Métis, and First Nations. Option B, only the Inuit and Métis. Option C, only the First Nations. Option D, only the Métis. The answer is option A, Inuit, Métis, and First Nations. Question number 610. Question: in which province is the Canadian landmark, the Cabot Trail, known for its stunning scenery, located? Option A, Newfoundland and Labrador. Option B, Prince Edward Island. Option C, Nova Scotia. Option D, New Brunswick. The answer is option C, Nova Scotia. Question number 611. Question: which Canadian city is known for hosting the world's largest annual rodeo event, the Calgary Stampede? Option A, Calgary. Option B, Toronto. Option C, Vancouver. Option D, Edmonton. The answer is option A, Calgary. Question number 612. Question: Which document in 1215 laid the foundation for freedom of the individual against the arbitrary authority of the despot? Option A, Magna Carta. Option B, Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Option C, Constitution Act, 1982. Option D, Bill of Rights. The answer is option A, Magna Carta. Question number 613. Question: who helps keep Canada's coastline safe? Option A, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP. Option B, Canadian Coast Guard. Option C, the Canadian Forces. Option D, Canadian Rangers. The answer is option B, Canadian Coast Guard. Question number 614. Question: what globally significant environmental accord was signed in Montreal to limit substances that deplete the ozone layer? Option A, the Montreal Protocol. Option B, the Kyoto Accord. Option C, the Paris Agreement. Option D, the Vancouver Declaration. The answer is option A, the Montreal Protocol. Question number 615. Question: Canadian Constitution was amended in 1982 to include the Option A, Canadian Charter of Citizens' Responsibility. Option B, Canadian Charter of Crime and Punishment. Option C, Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Option D, Canadian Charter of National Allegiance. The answer is option C, Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Question number 616. Question: the official languages of Canada, English and French, were recognized under the Option A, Official Languages Act. Option B, Bilingualism and Biculturalism Commission. Option C, Canadian Multiculturalism Act. Option D, Constitution Act, 1982. The answer is option A, Official Languages Act. Question number 617. Question: which Canadian city is renowned for its cultural festivals, including the International Jazz Festival? Option A, Montreal. Option B, Toronto. Option C, Vancouver. Option D, Halifax. The answer is option A, Montreal. Question number 618. Question: renowned for its pioneering legislation in environmental conservation, Canada established its first national park in which year? Option A, 1885. Option B, 1903. Option C, 1922. Option D, 1930. The answer is option A, 1885. Question number 619. Question: Canada is personified by Option A, the Sovereign. Option B, the Prime Minister. Option C, the Constitution. Option D, the flag. The answer is option A, the Sovereign. Question number 620. Question: the group of 7, influential in the early 20th century, were pioneers in which field? Option A, Canadian art. Option B, environmental conservation. Option C, literature. Option D, science and technology. The answer is option A, Canadian art. Question number 621. Question: which province granted the voting right to women first? Option A, Ontario. Option B, Quebec. Option C, Manitoba. Option D, Nova Scotia. The answer is option C, Manitoba. Question number 622. Question: which act established Canada as a self-governing dominion in 1867? Option A, the Constitution Act. Option B, the Canada Act. Option C, the British North America Act. Option D, the Dominion Lands Act. The answer is option C, the British North America Act. Question number 623. Question. Canada's contribution to peacekeeping missions began with its participation in which UN mission? Option A, the Suez Crisis of 1956. Option B, the Korean War. Option C, the UN mission in Kosovo. Option D, the Gulf War. The answer is option A, the Suez Crisis of 1956. Question number 624. Question. Which document formally established Canada as a self-governing entity within the British Empire? Option A, the Constitution Act, 1982. Option B, the British North America Act, 1867. Option C, the Statute of Westminster, 1931. Option D, the Canada Act, 1982. The answer is option C, the Statute of Westminster, 1931. Question number 625. Question. How many First Nations communities live on reserve land? Option A, about 700. Option B, about 600. Option C, 3. Option D, 5. The answer is option B, about 600. Question number 626. Question. Which region of Ontario is known for its vineyards, wines, and fruit crops? Option A, Peel Region. Option B, York Region. Option C, Niagara. Option D, Horseshoe. The answer is option C, Niagara. Question number 627. Question. The Atlantic colonies in Upper Canada and Lower Canada were collectively known as? Option A, British Canada. Option B, British North America. Option C, Greater Canada. Option D, Northern States. The answer is option B, British North America. Question number 628. Question. What principle does the Canadian justice system guarantee? Option A, the presumption of innocence. Option B, the right to a jury trial. Option C, the right to appeal. Option D, the right to public trial. The answer is option A, the presumption of innocence. Question number 629. Question. In 2005, Canada became one of the first countries to legalize. Option A, same-sex marriage. Option B, medical cannabis. Option C, assisted suicide. Option D, the right to digital privacy. The answer is option A, same-sex marriage. Question number 630. Question. Who grants royal assent for bills to become law on behalf of the sovereign? Option A, the Prime Minister. Option B, the House of Commons. Option C, the Governor General. Option D, the Senate. The answer is option C, the Governor General. Question number 631. Question. The global strategic initiative that Canada is part of, aiming to protect biodiversity, is known as? Option A, the Aichi targets. Option B, the Paris Agreement. Option C, the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD. Option D, the Kyoto Protocol. The answer is option C, the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD. Question number 632. Question. In Canada, gays and lesbians have equal rights to? Option A, healthcare. Option B, civil marriage. Option C, protection from discrimination. Option D, all of these. The answer is option D, all of these. Question number 633. Question. Canada's largest national park, renowned for its biodiversity and conservation efforts, is? Option A, Wood Buffalo National Park. Option B, Banff National Park. Option C, Jasper National Park. Option D, Grosmore National Park. The answer is option A, Wood Buffalo National Park. Question number 634. Question: which of the following is not the heritage of Canada's legal system? Option A, rule of law. Option B, freedom under law. Option C, due process of law. Option D, petitions under law. The answer is option D, petitions under law. Question number 635. Question: which act officially separated the province of Quebec into Upper and Lower Canada in 1791? Option A, the Canada Act. Option B, the Constitutional Act. Option C, the British North America Act. Option D, the Quebec Act. The answer is option B, the Constitutional Act. Question number 636. Question: which iconic Canadian symbol is featured on the $1 coin, commonly known as the loonie? Option A, a maple leaf. Option B, a beaver. Option C, a loon. Option D, a polar bear. The answer is option C, a loon. Question number 637. Question: the Flanders Fields poem is written by option A, Agnes MacPhail. Option B, Colonel John McCrae. Option C, Sir Arthur Currie. Option D, Sir Sam Steele. The answer is option B, Colonel John McCrae. Question number 638. Question: in Canada, who is above the law? Option A, police. Option B, judge. Option C, politician. Option D, no one above the law in Canada. The answer is option D, no one above the law in Canada. Question number 639. Question: which Canadian province is the leading producer of maple syrup, accounting for a significant percentage of global production? Option A, Quebec. Option B, Ontario. Option C, New Brunswick. Option D, Manitoba. The answer is option A, Quebec. Question number 640. Question: in which Canadian province is the majority of the Francophone population located? Option A, Ontario. Option B, Quebec. Option C, Manitoba. Option D, New Brunswick. The answer is option B, Quebec. Question number 641. Question: the last spike of the Canadian Pacific Railway was driven in which province? Option A, British Columbia. Option B, Ontario. Option C, Alberta. Option D, Saskatchewan. The answer is option A, British Columbia. Question number 642. Question: in which year the last Victoria Cross was awarded to a Canadian? Option A, 1902. Option B, 1953. Option C, 1918. Option D, 1945. The answer is option D, 1945. Question number 643. Question: what historical event is marked by the creation of Nunavut in 1999? Option A, the end of the Northwest Rebellion. Option B, the expansion of Canada's territorial waters. Option C, the establishment of a territory for the Inuit. Option D, the signing of the Nisga'a Treaty. The answer is option C, the establishment of a territory for the Inuit. Question number 644. Question: the modern energy industry began in Canada with the discovery of oil in 1947 in the province of Option A, Quebec. Option B, British Columbia. Option C, Alberta. Option D, Manitoba. The answer is option C, Alberta. Question number 645. Question: which of the following is not a source of Canadian law? Option A, Laws made by the House of Commons and the provincial legislatures. Option B. French Civil Code. Option C. French Federal Law. Option D. English Common Law. The answer is option C. French Federal Law. Question number 646. Question. The iconic Canadian Mounted Police Force is known colloquially as Option A. Mounties. Option B. Guards. Option C. Sentinels. Option D. Rangers. The answer is option A. Mounties. Question number 647. Question. Which Canadian province is the only officially bilingual one, recognizing both English and French as official languages? Option A. New Brunswick. Option B. Quebec. Option C. Ontario. Option D. Manitoba. The answer is option A. New Brunswick. Question number 648. Question. Which Canadian innovation has been pivotal in advancing global emergency medical services? Option A. The portable defibrillator. Option B. Insulin. Option C. The electric wheelchair. Option D. The artificial pacemaker. The answer is option A. The portable defibrillator. Question number 649. Question. The concept of a peacekeeping nation is most closely associated with which Canadian Prime Minister? Option A. Lester B. Pearson. Option B. Pierre Elliott Trudeau. Option C. John A. Macdonald. Option D. William Lyon Mackenzie King. The answer is option A. Lester B. Pearson. Question number 650. Question. In what year did Canada establish its multiculturalism policy, promoting cultural diversity and inclusiveness? Option A. 1971. Option B. 1982. Option C. 1969. Option D. 1988. The answer is option A. 1971.